So interest rates down by 50 basis points, and Powell gave the intent that he wanted to lower those rates even more, and that everything is looking great, basically. So that was the most bullish condition possible that could have come from this. Let's see how the market reacted. Um, well, here we are on the 4 hour. The initial reaction, so this green candle here is after hours right now, but the initial reaction was up big amount and then slowly down, and it actually ended down here. So kind of one of those things where you buy the rumor, sell the news. This has been baked into the market for such a long time. Even though this was the best possible scenario, I think the market was hesitant to go higher. But after hours, you'll notice just pretty much straight up. And the market right now is up over 1%. The NASDAQ is. I'm going to short this. I think the initial reaction may be correct, but here I am. If this trade goes back up over here, I'm out and going to go long on the long side, because this is the trend line here that I drew. So while all the news that came out today was very positive and bullish, here is the danger that some people are going to be pointing out. Back in the 1981-82 recession, this is what happened. The Fed thought they were done with inflation and they started lowering interest rates. That's the blue line here. And they lowered them quickly from about 17 down to 9%, very quickly. But look what happened. Inflation wasn't dead, and they had to raise it back up again from 9 all the way up to 19%. 19%. Can you imagine? I mean, we're suffering right now with these 8% mortgages. Imagine paying 20%. It's unfathomable. So, anyway, not over yet, but the news today was basically positive, and that's why I think people are unsure whether to continue to buy stocks right now or not. During the market open, they said, no, I think we're going to sell. But now, after hours, taking a look again, looks like it is declining a bit, down to 0.91%, still up big. So we could have a big day tomorrow, or it can be a very disappointing day. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure what's driving this after hours. It's probably just people thinking about this, saying, hey, wait, the market sold off, but the news was really, really good. I'm not going to chase it for sure. If anything, I'm going to short. If I'm going to go to the long side, I'm going to wait for a dip. I don't like to chase things. As far as news stories out, we've had a lot of financial news. I'm going to cover this story once again because it's just getting weirder and weirder after yesterday's pager explosions. They followed it up today with walkie talkie explosions.
18 people have been killed and 450 others wounded in Lebanon in a new wave of explosions. This time it's walkie talkies used by Hezbollah that have been detonated. It comes as Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has said the country is opening a new phase in the Gaza war and the center of gravity is shifting to the north. These are
That's crazy. This is just getting crazier and crazier. Exploding pagers and walkie talkies. Hezbollah is going to react to this. I guarantee it. It's just a question of when and how strong. Supposedly they have like 100,000 missiles. So anything can happen right now in the market. But again, with this news, look what the market is doing. It's up 0.90% after hours. Doesn't really care about this kind of stuff. It cares more about interest rates and technicals, frankly. So stick with the technicals. They won't let you down. That's the lesson I've learned over the last month or two. Here's the full statement by the Fed. Now, as you know, I've been saying I think there's going to be a recession coming in the fall or the winter. This is some data that is proving me wrong. Well, not yet, but it counters my argument that things look really, really bad. They're saying, and of course, the Fed isn't going to say things look really, really bad, but anyway, this is what they're saying. Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has continued to expand at a solid pace. That is true. The GDP is 2.93%. It's pretty solid. Job gains have slowed. They admit that, and the unemployment rate has moved up but remains low. So that's really where the rubber meets the road. It's the jobs numbers. If they continue to come in lower, I think we'll see lower and lower rates unless inflation starts to tick up. And then finally, they said inflation has made further progress toward the committee's 2% objective, but remains somewhat elevated. So it hasn't hit their target yet. It still could turn around. like in the 70s and 80s, and then they have to go through this exercise again. But it seems like they're pretty confident that, at least for right now, inflation is under control, and they fear a recession more than they fear inflation at this point. So thus they've lowered the rate by 50 basis points. They could have just done 25, but they decided to go 50, and they decided to signal that more rate cuts are in the works if the data comes in as they expect and hope. So what does this do to precious metals? Well, look at the move up at first, and then, like the market, it just dropped. Gold, similar reaction. So the precious metals did not like it, and in fact, gold is still down after hours. Let's take a look at the currency. Wow, this is very interesting. So the initial reaction, as you would expect with a 50 basis point cut, you would expect the dollar to go down, which it did, because rates go down, the dollar goes down. The dollar is worth less. As far as holding dollars, you don't get as much interest on it. Now, if that's the case, that would push precious metals up, which it did. But then, for whatever reason, it reversed, and the dollar started moving up and continues to be up after hours, up in a pretty big way. I mean, we're talking 200 pips from bottom to top. That's a big move, and that is what is putting precious metals under pressure at this moment, I believe, is that the dollar is not going down. And again, this goes back to the whole, I think this has been priced in over the last 8 months, that everybody knew this was coming. So I'm not really sure what to expect. The news was great, but it's all priced in. What does that mean? I honestly don't know. I'm just going to have to watch. And when I get in situations like this, I go to smaller time frames, right? Instead of the 3 hour, I'm going to go down to the hourly, because there's likely to be a lot of volatility. And I'm going to trade in the direction that the market is going ultimately. That's what I'm going to do. So that's where we're at tonight. Dollar doing some strange things, stock market doing some strange things after hour, almost like they're rethinking the market reaction earlier. Usually you don't get this big a move after hours, so very unusual. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I will let you know if I see anything else. Also, do please like or subscribe. It does help me out if you like these kinds of videos. Thanks very much, everyone.